Okay.
My name is Rick Wilson. I'm the GM of basketball for Converse.
All right. Tell us about this new push that Converse is doing, starting in New York with a test here in Atlanta, and probably going to take it across the country. Give us the whole gist behind it.
Well, I think one of the push really starts from Converse's desire to build a closer bond, a closer relationship with kids. Atlanta, I think, kind of is a cross section of a lot of different communities and cultures relative to rock and roll, the history, the historic nature of this community, of the city, the performance attributes of sport. So this is, quite frankly, kind of a marriage of a lot of things that's been going on with our brand in this community. So I think Atlanta really will become a microcosm of some of the efforts that you'll see from Converse on a greater scale, and we're just starting here in Atlanta.
Now, what are some of the other things you're going to be doing here? Well, let's talk about the program first, what you've done here this weekend, here in Atlanta, starting from yesterday or the day before, and here at Clark, and then some of the community things you're going to be doing afterwards.
Well, one of the community programs that we've been running right here actually started, and I think at that particular time it was a single effort that we had. It was an open gym. It's called Open Gym, and actually it's a platform that we use to bring kids out and allow them to engage in our brand. So we started that in Miami. We've had it in Philadelphia. We've had Open Gym, and currently still do. We've had them in Chicago as well as obviously now in Atlanta. So Open Gym is really kind of was, I think, probably our first opportunity to re-engage with kids on the most fundamental level. And then from there, we've been literally sitting back and thinking about other opportunities. I've been in communication, and Open Gym is actually being held at Morehouse. I've been in communication with Morehouse about bringing them on a college level. We have, as you, not sure if you saw yesterday, but I think last night was kind of a microcosm relative to the walkthrough of the different things that we've been doing. Hoop Atlanta, an engagement as a partnership on a greater scale with the city here to help us refurbish courts. We've gone into some of the high schools, giving back more than 3,000 basketballs. And these efforts are going to continue. We started them here in Atlanta from a creative standpoint, quite frankly, about 8 months ago. And now really is the culmination of a lot of good efforts with this community for the right reason.
Are you going to be building a court at Piedmont Park?
The conversations have started right now. We haven't. There's no broken ground, but surely that is the effort. That's the direction that we'll take. And again, I don't think the limitations are simply Piedmont Park, but that's what we're striking first.
Okay. So what other cities are you planning on taking this particular program?
Well, not confirmed, but the communications have been around not only obviously Atlanta, but around Miami, Chicago, Boston. We've had communications about Philadelphia, about Dallas. So again, we're using these opportunities to go into communities that feel right for Converse. I think there are great cities like New York and LA, and they're huge opportunities for any brand. But what we feel is that being in a concentrated area like in Atlanta gives us the best opportunity to have an impact in kids' lives first.
Mm-hmm. Have you found that across the country there have become a lot of neglected basketball courts, and probably a lot of them not being played on as much anymore, just like what happened with baseball fields? There used to be baseball playgrounds all across the country, particularly with inner city youth would play, but they disappeared. They're trying to effort to bring those back. Have you found that to be with courts also, that if they're not being used, they become quite neglected?
You know, I actually, and I'll give you two answers to that. I grew up playing basketball on an outdoor court. I grew up in Hampton, Virginia, and I played basketball on an outdoor court. You could go outdoors on any given Saturday, whether it was sunny or raining, and there were kids to some degree out there playing basketball. To your point, yeah, you drive through communities now, as opposed to kids being outdoors playing basketball, there's grass growing on the courts, right? Which is pretty much one of the better signs of kids not being out there playing basketball. And it's not just that kids aren't playing outdoors, I think because of video games and all those different things that are easily accessible, the culture of kids and the way the kids are reared and raised in their respective families is different. You know, we didn't have those things. I wouldn't even say readily accessible. They weren't there when I was a kid. So parents kind of pushed you to go outside. So right now, the game has moved indoors. Kids don't have the opportunities. They can't just go home, pick up a basketball and say, hey, you know what I'm gonna do today? I'm gonna call my friend and we're gonna go outside and play one-on-one. So some of the opportunities for them to have access to venues to participate in sport aren't there. So one of the best ideas I think the Converse has had since I've been here, Open Gym. Let's open the doors, invite the kids in, allow them to engage in the game of sport, and hopefully from there we can give them, you know, other opportunities. You can teach them life skills, which are potential components of what we want to do with Open Gym as well. But yeah, the game has moved indoors. It's not just the outdoor courts not being played on. The game has moved indoors.
Even though you didn't mention this, it's also a way to fight childhood obesity, you know, in terms of having kids more active again.
I think one of the ways, and I'm not saying this is the way, but as you speak to childhood obesity, just in communication, because there are some kids, and quite frankly, I have a family member that deals with that on a regular basis, and a part of it is self-esteem. When you start talking about self-esteem or low self-esteem, one of the things you have to do is allow them kids or those people to get wins, to get early wins, and let them know that they should have reasons, and there are reasons that they should feel good about themselves. Well, what happens is when you're coming into an engaging area, you're participating in basketball, other kids are giving you, are speaking positive about things that you're doing, you're having fun, you feel a part of a community, it breeds back to you. So then you're doing two things. You're being active, you're becoming active, and you're feeling better about yourself, and that kind of spirals into other areas of your life.